Oh, we're talking about, so let me get back on this. How much time do I have?
Don't worry about it. Forever.
Yeah, you say that now. So anyway, Patrick Lynn, co-author of the National Science Foundation report, tries to take me to task. Well, guess what happened? They posted our YouTube video over there that Joe made. I went over there after 3 days. I went to YouTube and dropped the window down and looked down to see where the traffic was coming from. They had 200 plays from their website. News with Views had 800 plays from their website. Raiders News Network had 10,000 plays from its website. And they had to shut down the comment section at the IET. If you think I'm kidding, you go there and pull down to the bottom and look at it, and they said we had to shut down this section, just too many comments. And plus, we didn't like some of those comments that were talking about how we're all going to burn in hell. There probably was one that said that, and 50 others that were making good rational sense about, look, I mean, even Ian Malcolm from Jurassic Park, he's not a Christian. He's a scientist that subscribes to the chaos theory. He's saying God didn't allow for it, but neither did natural evolution. And what we are doing now has no precedent. And we are living with we are tinkering with biological forces that have the potential to annihilate mankind in a single hour. So doesn't somebody somewhere think that bioconservatives ought to be involved in this discussion? Well, absolutely yes. Well, anyway, took issue, said that it wasn't fair. He's not a transhumanist. Well, there goes the glasses. So let me read you what he said. Let me read you what he says. This is his words. Co-author, National Science Foundation, and you can tell me if you think I'll get him. I got one guy over there he should have ran right over here and got him. Thank you, sir. Yeah, I'm going to pay for it later, I got to tell you. It's fun now. Payday later. Here's what he says. This is the start of the brand new National Science Foundation Ethics of Human Enhancement, 25 questions and answers, and they tell you that they've written this because the discussion has to start now to set the guidelines by which we are going to set national policy, law. How will the Constitution, how will the Bill of Laws be extended to a man who's part human, who's part monkey? How much has to be human for the Bill of Rights to extend to him? At what point does he no longer become a human? The Jews are weighing in on this just to show how insane the ethics behind where we're going now is. And they're saying, well, if he's part cow, how much could be cow before we could offer him as a sacrifice? But the point that they're making is there is no way. I mean, once you cross this boundary, there is no going back. But we're crossing the boundary anyway. Well, here's what Mr. Patrick Lynn says. This is your taxpayer-funded reports. You might want to know what you paid for. Quote, "It is not just the world around us that we desire to change. Since the beginning of history, we also have wanted to become more than human, to become Homo superior. From the godlike command of Gilgamesh, to the lofty ambitions of Icarus, to the preternatural strength of Beowulf, to the mythical skills of Shaolin monks, and to various shamans and shapeshifters, shapeshifters throughout the world's history, we have dreamt and still dream of transforming ourselves to overcome our all too human limitations." Those are the opening lines to the National Science Foundation report. He says this, "With ongoing work to unravel the mysteries of our minds and bodies, coupled with the art and science of emerging technologies, we are near the start of the human enhancement revolution." Well, ladies and gentlemen, he's telling the truth. As a matter of fact, as I was doing research on this for the last 15 years, but very intently over the last 4 or 5 years, and then specifically over the last couple of years, leading towards the writing of Apollyon Rising 2012, but more specifically this new book, Forbidden Gates, I found that almost to a man, almost to a letter, every one of these reports are pointing to the year 2012, which was very astonishing to me that these military, even, what's his name, I printed it here just before I left because I can never think of his name. I don't have it. I do have it. I do have it. Counterterrorism czar Richard Clarke. Oh, thank you. That's his job. Counterterrorism czar Richard Clarke in his book Breakpoint. Have you read it? Year 2012 begins the quickening, the unfolding of human enhancement, and it starts. The singularity arrives, and the human enhancement revolution begins in earnest, and most of the world is very, very excited about it. We all get to be more powerful. We're going to live longer. We're going to do all these things. We can see into other dimensions. But you know what he also says in Breakpoint? That those who are conservative and who are against the human enhancement revolution are stereotyped as terrorists, and we are locked away. There is an ideological war that is unfolding right now for the mind of this generation. And ladies and gentlemen, we get involved with this or we don't. And if we don't, we abdicate to those types of visionaries, our future and the future of our children. The good news is there was a reason why there was 10,000 downloads from Raiders News Network and 200 from the IET, because we outnumber them by the hundreds of thousands. We don't have to let them define for us what our future will be. Now, I should also tell you that I'm not a neo-Luddite. I'm not against technological progression. I'm not. Look here, I've already been enhanced. But to the extent that we start talking about redefining what it means to be a human, blending our genetics with animals and plant life and other types of things, somewhere you have to draw a line. Or at least in my mind you do. And I believe that there is wisdom that God has that we don't have. Why did God order each kind to reproduce after its own kind? What does He know that we don't know? Well, a great deal, I'm sure of that. Huh? Yeah. You're like that guy, you know, the remake of The Fly. And he's building a transporter, and he gets in it, and he's going to move from here to there. And during a transportation process, he accidentally has his DNA integrated with a normal housefly. Well, he comes out on the other side, and a few days later, man, he starts becoming the transhumanist dream come true. Sexual proclivities of an African lion, can outrun everybody, stronger, faster. But then something else starts happening. And that's that unknown. The unknown, where you start mutating into a horrific monster and you have to be destroyed. Those are very, very real possibilities. Have you seen the movie I Am Legend? And if you watch it, there's a Sharon, but an unsaved Sharon Gilbert, right in the very beginning of it, a geneticist, an unsaved one though. And she's saying, we have found the cure to cancer. And it turns out the cure to cancer is a vaccine that is a concoction of human and animal genetics. The reason it can cure cancer is because some animals, I guess, have a great resilience to cancer. So they figure out some way to blend human and animal genetics. They create a vaccine. All the world celebrates. Everybody's inoculated. Nobody has cancer. Then the scene goes dark. Then the scene opens up, and almost all life on earth is annihilated. Why? Because the human form of rabies developed as a result of crossing over a barrier that God, in His infinite wisdom, had put in place, and it wipes out most all humanity. So I trust in God. I'm a biblical literalist, and I have real issues with some of the place we're going. Am I getting offline? Off track? Let me just read you a couple of things that they say here in the NSF, which you paid for. As examples of emerging technologies in the last year or so, a couple imaginative inventions in particular among many are closing the gap. Even more between science fiction and the real world, scientists have conceptualized a touch display designed to be implanted just under the skin that would activate special tattoo ink on one's arm to form images such as telephone number keys to punch or even to watch a video. Together with ever-shrinking computer devices, we appear to be moving closer to cybernetic organisms or cyborgs, that is, where machines are integrated with our bodies. Does this sound prophetic to anybody but me? Really? I mean, am I just a radical who would make Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber, proud? Yeah, let's go terrorize the transhumanists. You can read this for yourself. Here's another quick clip. Now, are these people channeling the Nomo? We can also envision the possibility that prosthetic flippers designed today for dolphins, along with artificial gills, might be requested by humans who want to transform into an aquatic animal. Your tax dollars at work.